Hey there, Latin 1. Here we are, Chapter 12, Capture. It's time for you to do the glossary, and hopefully that'll warm up my mouth so I can actually say words that make sense. So turn to page 89, and let's take a look at the glossary together. Notice that the verbs are starting to be presented the way I've taught you to do the cards. So if you're keeping up on your cards, and you should be, then this will make it easier, all right? So, and you can even tell just by looking at the way that they do it, what conjugation it is. That's one of the reasons I have you do that. So, invenio, invenire, which is actually just venio, venire with in front of it, okay? So, venio, venire is to come. Invenio is to come into something. In other words, to find it, to discover it, okay? It's where we get the word invention. Bonus. Now, they're not doing it yet, but they should be, and you definitely should be. This is an adjective, so we're going to give the masculine nominative singular, then the feminine nominative singular. So bonus, bona, and this is where we get the word bonus, bona fide, bonny, a whole bunch of words that have to do with good. In French, I believe it's bon. In Spanish, it's bien. So bonus is kind of the great granddaddy of all that. The next one, convoco, convocare. This is a first, okay? So convoco, convocare. And you should be saying these out loud with me. So this is to call together. This is voco, vocare, which is to call. And then con is really cum. But you said convoco, convoco. It turned into that over hundreds of years. So this is where we get convocation from, okay? Next one is rogo, rogare. And this is, again, a first. This is where we get the word interrogate from. Rogo, rogare, to ask. Or interrogative. The next one, vinea, vineai. This means vineyard. I love that even back then it was roughly the same word. In fact, the word for wine goes across multiple languages and has the same basic sound. In Greek, it's ovino, which then you just drop that O and you got vino. In Latin, vinum, which then in Spanish is vino, and in English it's wine. And it's all basically the same thing because apparently drinking rotten grape juice until you hallucinate and feel nauseously weird is a human need for 8,000 years. Anyway, a vinea is a vineyard. Okay, that's where we get the word vine from, obviously. Fossa, fossae. Now, I really like this word. It means ditch. If you feel your cheekbone right here, there's a little bit of a crevice right there, okay? And if you look up a very detailed diagram of your bones, you will find that a whole lot of your bones have what's called a fossa. So often the fossa is where the tendon attaches. So there's a mandibular fossa, there's a humeral fossa on both sides for the biceps. So fossa. It's also where we get the word fossil. Canis, canis. This could be masculine or feminine because it's an animal, and this means dog. This is where we get canine from. Fero, fere. Okay, now this, they've told you since, I don't know, chapter 4? Ferte auxilium, bring help. So it can mean to carry, but usually it means to bring, or to bear, actually. To bear is like put it up on your shoulders. Olfaccio, olfacera. This is an io of the third. Olfaccio, olfacera. And if you really look at it, it's just faccio, facera, but it's got ol in front of it, which means to make the scent of, to catch the scent. Honestly, I think it'd be better if you just said to smell or to sniff. Don't say to catch the scent of, because that'll make you think genitives. And it's where you get your olfactory glands. The next one, cum. Cum. This is part of Sid space, so this takes the ablative, and this means with. Latro, latrare, and that means to bark. And I think it's actually kind of onomatopoetic. As it turns out, most cultures have a different sound for a dog barking. But if you say this word, latro, latro, it just sounds a little barky. I got nothing in English, but that might help. Vestigia. Treat this is exactly as it says, tracks, footprints, or traces. Okay, so where we get vestigial. Vestigial tail, or vestigial tail, is what we have in our bodies. It's our tailbone. Next one, immobilis. Immobilis. This is similar to brevis. It's a third declension adjective. I'll teach you about those soon. Immobilis, actually I might teach about you this chapter or chapter 14 or something. But this is where you get immobile, okay? Tunica. Now notice this is ablative, so he grabs him tunica, by the tunic. It is the instrument by which he grabs him, okay? So it is ablative of instrument. So, you know, he drags him around by his tunic, okay? Traho, trahara. This means to drag or to pull. I think to drag works better in this context, but very often it means to pull. So you can put to pull next to it. It's actually where you're going to get the word tractor from. And then in this one, there's a lot to unpack here. So in fronte literas inuera. So the first thing, inuo, inuera. That's the verb. It's a third, standard third, okay? I got nothing for you on it. Literas, backspace or backtrack it, and you find it's litera, literae, which means letter. So where we get the word letter from, okay? And it means literally the letters, A, B, C, D, that kind of thing. And then in fronte is frons frontis, masculine, and the frons frontis is the forehead, okay? It's the front, okay? So in fronte literas inura, to brand letters on his forehead. That's what happens. Let's see, then turn the page, and you've pretty much run into all of these on page 90. Ubi unde quocum quibuscum, ubi unde quocum quibuscum, quando means when. And on the next page, quo instrumento, quo modo, both of them those mean how, but they're different. Quo instrumento means with what thing. Quo modo means in what way. So quo instrumento is ablative of instrument, it's in there. Quo modo is ablative of manner, like in what way would you like your ice cream? And that takes care of your vocab. So what I want you to do now is to read pages 90 and 91 in advance of what I'm going to teach you in the next video. All right, I'm gonna hit the button.